All right, so things are getting real. The last video I did talking about e-bike regulations was in California. And if you haven't seen that, it is in the description below. You guys can check that out. I'm going to be continuing to do news segments like this when it comes to electric bikes, any type of bikes, to where we have to do some type of registration in order to have a bike. With that being said, let's go over this one more time. Now it's New York instead of California. Let's go. So let's just hear what Fox has to say about it, because we all know how reliable these news organizations can be. They're kind of like little mockingbirds. They all talk about the same stuff, whether it's on the right or the left. And with the e-bike community, it's pretty much the same.
They can be a menace on the roads and sidewalk, all for New Yorkers.
That's right. Yeah, close calls happen far too often. And now one New York City Council member is calling for some new regulations. We've also seen some movement in the New York State Senate. Regan Medji.
I also encourage people, and this is with all news, all right? Take the time to basically pull out a stopwatch or just time how much of what you're hearing is news and opinion, okay? Remember that as we're watching this, how much of it is news and how much of it is opinion.
Is live on the Upper East Side. You're on the Upper East Side, right, Megan? There she is with the very latest. Good morning, Regan.
Oh yes, and I'm feeling the wind fly off of these e-bikes as they go past me. That guy at least is kind of nice and tame, but some of them are just whipping by. And you all
Was that news?
know, because you've been there, right? You're either walking the dog, you got to keep the dog close to you so the dog doesn't go out in the bike lane because...
She's basically telling you how to feel. We've all been there. This is how you should feel about this, all right? I just want you to just put that in our mind first, all right? I hate the news for this fact.
Who knows what kind of e-bike is going to be flying down, or the scooters. Sometimes it's like playing a game of Frogger when I'm driving here in the very early hours of the morning. Okay, with all of that, the lawmakers are trying their very best to try to get stronger rules of the road when it comes to those e-bikes.
There's no insurance, no registration.
You don't have to have insurance for any type of bicycle, which I do encourage you. If you do have like a really high-end bike or something you've built out before, like a Suron or any high-end road bikes or mountain bikes, you should have some type of insurance. Usually there is a clause within your homeowner's insurance or your car insurance where you can add that into it. So just always do the research on that.
Nothing.
I see a lot of people just disregarding pedestrians and traffic laws.
I've also seen pedestrians, and if you're from New York City, you can attest to this. You'll see it in this video. There are green lanes that signify that is a bike lane. And I can't tell you how many times I've been in Philadelphia and New York, and I've just been cruising along that lane, and people just don't even look. They just cut straight across. And it's us as bike riders, our duty to look out for everyone. Which I'll always say that when you're on a bike, you are looking out literally for everyone. Cars, pedestrians, dogs, cats, squirrels, no matter what it is. But when you're in a car, you're only looking out for cars. And when you're a pedestrian, you're only looking out for cars. So
Has Council Member Robert Holden, who's calling for a statewide comprehensive regulation of e-bikes and mobility.
What's this thing say in the background? I always like to look at this type of stuff. Always, you can find a lot about somebody just by really, really examining the background.
Devices.
I'm not suggesting things that are not done now for other vehicles.
Such as required road tests, registration.
Road tests, registration. You heard that in my last segment. California's trying to do that. These two states have a lot in common.
License and insurance for all e-vehicles.
See the green line right there? Green line, green lane, whatever you want to call it. That lane is specifically for bikes, scooters, anybody that's on like a bird scooter, a lime scooter, a bike like this, to let people know and drivers know that that lane you should also always look out for. The majority of cities like this that have basically infrastructure bills to be able to implement this type of stuff, do it. I don't know why New York or California both are attacking this space, but I feel like what they should do is use and lead by example. I mean, what they're doing right here.
If you're on the street and you hit someone,
they're dead probably.
You'll see many times they hit someone and they take off because no license. I can't identify them. They don't have insurance. They don't have registration.
An e-mobility tax is also being proposed.
An e-mobility tax. See, that's where it comes in. They encourage you, right? They make it so expensive for you to own a car in these places, so expensive to maintain the car, have gas, all that stuff, that it kind of forces you or makes you look in the direction of some type of transportation, like an e-bike. You're like, okay, wow, I'm able to save money. It's a one-time purchase of $1,500 for a decent e-bike. I'm able to save some money. I'm going to put that money into my pocket and therefore go from place to place. I mean, right there, they're forcing you in that direction, and now they're seeing how many people are doing it, and they're trying to tax them.
As is an inspection process.
Inspection? What the hell is that guy wearing? Inspection process, and we're going to break down this dude's outfit. What is going? He's a Domino's guy. I can see something on his helmet. What in the world? When was this clip filmed? Or is New York City still under some type of, you know what? Dude's got a face thing on, some hand things on. This clip, it can't be recent.
After the lithium-ion batteries that are used to
Rewind
power
that a little bit.
process, especially.
They don't have registration.
An e-mobility tax is also being proposed, as is an inspection process, especially.
As in an inspection process. So that means it'd be like taking your car to the inspection lane and it's like, all right, come on, go fast. Slam on the brakes. Okay. Most people will probably end up falling over doing that. Slam on the brakes. Okay, your brakes work good. Your tire pressure's good. I mean, what are they thinking? This is ridiculous.
After the lithium-ion batteries that are used to power these e-vehicles have sparked fires.
That's only in battery manufacturing that isn't done right. A lot of these batteries have some type of certification, like a UL certification, and most of these places in New York City and Philadelphia and LA and all that stuff require you to have a certification on your battery in order to be able to even take your bike into some type of building. So I think that she's wrong there. There's a lot of misinformation.
Deadly across the city.
We want to make sure these vehicles are safe. How many people were killed in fires already? I think it's 13 or more.
He probably was just told that. Like, he didn't know that. There's a difference between somebody that, like, knows what they're talking about and somebody that was just like, oh yeah, it's from their system. Yeah, there's 13 people that was killed. They don't know what they're talking about. We're also going to get into Electric's article after this.
Good day, New York. Yesterday, Senator Hoylman Siegel laid out his legislation to regulate
When, like I said, when was this clip filmed? What is going on here? It is New York. I can see the New York tags. He's in a bike lane going the wrong way, but at least he's in a bike lane. But he's got something over his hands and things on his face.
bikes.
With one foot. I mean, the dude's going somewhere. I mean, that's all I gotta say.
For commercial purposes like deliveries.
We need to license e-bikes that are being used by commercial delivery apps, number one. So we can...
Anything to make a buck. I don't care what you say in the comments. If you don't agree with that part right there, anything to make a buck, you're under a rock. You're delusional. I'm sorry. I'll call it how I see it. Put it in the comments if you think I'm wrong. But you know what? You know what I see? All three of these dudes right here in a bike lane. All three of these dudes wearing helmets. Bright vest. I see reflective tape on another bike. Bright wheels. They're doing what they can in order to be seen.
License plate readers, and we can use an enforcement mechanism that is colorblind. Absolutely. Number two, we need to have insurance. The delivery apps need to provide these men and women insurance. So if, God forbid, somebody's struck by an e-bike, they can have that compensation. And number three, we need to make sure...
If there was insurance, I bet you anything, bums, people living on the streets in New York City, San Francisco, LA, when they find out these e-bikers are insured, they will be happily to jump in front of them. Mark my words.
If it's a hit and run on an e-bike, then you're charged with a hit and run just as if you were hit and run in an automobile.
One e-bike delivery worker we spoke with tells us he also agrees with the regulations in theory, but fears the requirements may add more expenses.
First, always note this. She answered for him. So she just put that in your head that he answered in theory. Okay? In theory. We'll see if they actually put his whole clip in.
For a job that already has him pinching pennies.
The application, they just send you like $4 or $6. You go and like you need to be careful.
He said nothing. Nothing. She told you what she thinks he said. She told you something that he said, but didn't actually show you him saying that. Always, always keep your ears open, guys. Always. That's some BS right there. He literally said nothing. Just be careful. He didn't say any of the stuff that she just said.
And enforcement is needed. So the heart of the legislation that is being pushed in Albany right now is the need for cameras and the need for licenses. The hope is that this will get passed, the legislation, by early January. We're live on the Upper East Side. Reagan Medji, good day, New York. Rosanna, back to you.
All right. E-bikes.
Oh my God. All right, so that's a lot to unpack. I'm going to put this in the description below for you guys to check out. I'm also going to put some links to things that I think are like safe measures for you as a rider in the description below, whether it be lights. They also make like dash cams for bikes, so you can have some type of safety for yourself for that. I highly encourage you to do those things, especially if you're using this to commute back and forth to work more than just recreational. Let's check out Electric's article on this. So they had a really good article on this. I highly encourage you to read it. I'm not going to read it all out to you, but the New York Times attacks e-bikes while ignoring the real danger all around us. So, dude, this guy, right, I searched him on here. He has a whole slew of articles and stuff like that. He's pretty based, man. Like, as the kids would say, he's pretty based. I think it's pretty awesome. New York Times published a pair of articles this weekend highlighting the rising numbers of deaths in cycling riding electric bikes. However, in one of the most impressive feats of victim blaming, this is why I like him. I like him a lot. I've seen in publication in some time, New York Times lays out on e-bikes instead of on the things killing their law-abiding riders' cars, right? I tried looking at this New York Times article. I'm not subscribing to any publication where they make you pay money. Like where's it at? Where's the article? If I click article here, it brings up, I'm like, oh, okay, let me look at this. Oh, psych. Got to pay $1 a week. Not happening, dude. Not paying you anything. So he basically breaks down the multiple articles they've written. Does a really, really good job. I highly encourage you to check this article out. He has a bit of his own opinions on here, which that's to be expected with most writers. And he talks about the previous death that happened out in California. Talks about how the person was using signal turning and still ended up getting hit by a car. But at the end of the day, it's like, when it comes down to bike riders, we are individuals that when we're on the road, we're observing everything. We're looking at cars, cyclists, motorcycles, debris. Your eyes are on everything. But when you're driving a car, you're literally just looking at the car in front of you, unless you're me. I'm looking 6 cars ahead, 2 cars to the left, 3 cars behind me. I'm all over the place. But most people don't do that. Motorcycle riders can kind of attest to what I'm talking about. How often do you hear of a motorcycle rider who hits a cyclist? Rare. Really rare. Because they are of the same mindset. They have the same mindset when they're on the road. They're looking for anything and everything that could possibly happen. And with that being said, I think that you, the individual, should also do the same. Do a little bit of research on this. I'm going to click these. I'm going to clip these links in the description below for you to check out. This is a fantastic article. Like I said, I do have an opinion on this, and this is going to be my opinion. I think this whole trying to register e-bikes is complete garbage. I think it's dumb. I think it's not going to do anything. I think they need to widen their infrastructure. They're really quick to put in a park that doesn't matter, or do a lot of things that don't even matter. But if they really cared and they really wanted to, let's just say, make more money, I'll use their words. They want to make more money. They want to try to tax people. There's more money to be made by widening and making the infrastructure for cycling. So if they wanted to register more bikes and they wanted to make sure that people were safer, they would add more money to the infrastructure bill and make more of those paths, those green paths that you see. We have a lot of them near me, and they work really well. And it makes people that are cyclists feel really safe that are out there. Now, the problem you will have in some areas are some riders that ride slower, some ride faster. And by the rules of the road, you ding your bell or honk your horn, you say on your left, and you just firmly, kindly pass them. So with that being said, this article is really, really good. I highly encourage you to check it out. He did a really good job. Yeah, let's see. Maybe next week we'll have another one of these stories. Try to predict which state will pass this first. Put those in the comments below. Let me know your true thoughts in the comments below. I just gave you guys a brief little bit of my true thoughts, and I will be happy to engage with you guys. So with that being said, if there's any other suggestions for future videos, put them in the comments below. If you guys like this video, drop a like. If you love it, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.